seeing that Christmas is approaching, I thought it would be a good idea to do a Christmas orientated recipe. So what I've got for you today is some nice gingerbread men. Obviously they don't need to be gingerbread men, they can be gingerbread trees or whatever you want. So let's get into it and I hope you enjoy. So we'll start with our dry ingredients first. I'm going to put in 3 cups of plain flour. Following this, I'm going to stick in about half a teaspoon of salt, then 3/4 of a teaspoon of baking soda. And now we can move on to our spices that will be flavouring our dough. So we're going to begin with 2 teaspoons of ginger. You might want to add in an extra teaspoon of ginger depending on how much gingery taste you like in your gingerbread. Following that, we're going to stick in 1 teaspoon of cinnamon, 1/4 teaspoon of nutmeg, 1/4 teaspoon of cloves. Now if you don't have cloves, nutmeg and cinnamon, you can substitute these in for 2 teaspoons of mixed spice. So just put all this into our flour mixture and give it a good stir around so everything's incorporated. Okay, now let's focus on our wet ingredients. So what we're going to start with is 113 grams or half a cup of softened butter. It's easier if you cut into cubes, I've found. And what we're going to add to this in our bowl is just half a cup of caster sugar. We're just going to get our handy dandy egg beater and just cream the butter and the sugar together until it's nice and fluffy. Once we're at that point, we can add in 2/3 of a cup of molasses. Now if you don't have molasses, golden syrup will work fine. Molasses is just a lot richer and it's a little bit more flavoursome. So it's okay if you don't have it, just use golden syrup. And to this we're also going to add in 1 large egg. Rightio, we're just going to beat everything together until we get a nice thick dark looking batter like we have here. Now it's as simple as adding a little bit of flour to our wet ingredients. Gradually add the flour, not in one big heap, and work the mixture in until you get a nice ball of dough like we have here. So what we're going to do is going to split this dough in half, so just cut it down the center and wrap each ball in cling foil or Glad wrap and stick it in the fridge for about 2 hours. You need it to be a nice cold dough, otherwise the butter will melt and our gingerbread men will not hold their shape when you cook them. Finally, our dough is ready to come out of the fridge. So just bring out 1 dough ball, the other can sit in the fridge until we're ready for it. And we're just going to lightly flour our working surface and then roll out our gingerbread dough. It doesn't particularly matter what shape you roll it out into, as long as it's around 1/4 of an inch thick, or that's 5 millimeters thick. Now we can get our cookie cutters. Like I said, you can use any shape you want. I've got a gingerbread man, a Christmas tree and a snowman to use, and all we're just going to do is cut the cookies out. It's not difficult, and we're going to put these on a plate with baking paper. The trick is to put them back into the fridge after you finish cutting them. This will mean that we've got a nice cold cookie to stick into our oven so that they'll hold their shape perfectly and you're not left with some deformed gingerbread men. It's cooking time, so we're just going to grab our baking tray and then line it with baking paper. And we've got a preheated oven at 180 degrees. And we're just going to simply put our cookies from the fridge onto our baking paper and then stick them into the oven for about 10 to 15 minutes. Now 10 minutes if you like your gingerbread chewy. If you like them really crunchy, you might want to go 15 or a little bit longer. It's quite simple to check. They should be lightly browned around the outside, nice and hard, and still have a chewy center. So that's what we're aiming for. So once they're ready, you just pull them out of the oven and then put them onto a wire rack to cool, and then stick the other cookies that you've cut onto the tray back into the oven, and repeat this process until you're out of cookie dough, and then you've got dozens of gingerbread men to eat. The gingerbread themselves are fine as they are, but if you want to get a little bit more creative, you can put a frosting onto the gingerbread. Now I've just got a simple frosting that we'll go over. You can add food colouring like I have done to get different colours and to make them really fancy, and then you can give them away as gifts if you like to your family and friends. So in a large bowl we're just going to stick 2 cups of sifted icing sugar or confectionery sugar. Now we're going to stick in half a cup of softened butter, and as before we're going to get our beater and we're just going to cream these two together until it's nice and fluffy mixture. Now to thin it down a little bit we're going to add in about 1.5 tablespoons of milk or light cream if you've got it. Now you can make it a little bit thinner if you like by adding a little bit more, or thicker by adding less obviously. And to flavour it all up we're going to stick in 1 teaspoon of vanilla essence. We're just going to combine these last ingredients into the fluffed up butter and sugar until you've got a base frosting to work from, and like I said you can split it in different colours like I have, and once you've done that stick it into a piping bag and then get decorating. It's really up to you. Use your imagination on how you like to decorate them. Like I said, you don't have to at all. It's fine the way they are. They're going to taste great. So there you have it. Quick and easy. It's basically foolproof. So I hope you guys enjoy it and make ideal gifts to your family and friends. So get into the Christmas spirit. Thanks for watching, guys.